Are you tired of feeling like you're missing out on the latest tech trends? Want to use AI to grow your business, but not sure where to start? Well, it's time to get smart with AI. Our program is designed for busy entrepreneurs just like you, with real-world, hands-on applications and easy-to-understand lessons. And best of all, our program is affordable and accessible to everyone. So don't get left behind in the tech race. Join Get Smart with AI and take your business to the next level. Visit AnnaMcCoy.com to register. Hello, Brilliant One. Welcome to Billionaire Brilliance with your coach, mentor, and guide, Anna McCoy. I'm a bit quirky, funny, fascinating, and absolutely serious about your good success. You're listening to the Business and Faith podcast for entrepreneurs to help you win in business and life.
Say what you see, believe you will be. Ooh, if you can see it's your mindset. You can achieve it, adjust your mindset.
Welcome, Brilliant Ones, to this episode of Billionaire Brilliance with Coach Anna. Today, we're talking about the essence, mindset. It is pillar 4 in the Billionaire Brilliance 7-pillar system. Let me start off by saying this. I spent a lot of time thinking about this episode. In fact, when I think about essence, I want to take a moment to define and describe, because my intention here is to uncover or to bring light up on the word essence and how important it is that we are people who live our true selves. I'm going to talk about in this episode about your essence, who you truly are, the real you, and reclaiming the real you in terms of personal privacy. First, let's start with this idea of essence. What is essence? The essence of a person is often described as their fundamental nature or core identity that makes them who they are. It can be thought of as the underlying qualities or characteristics that define an individual and distinguish them from others. Some people believe that the essence of a person is something that cannot be fully captured or articulated in words, but rather is an intangible quality that is felt or perceived through interactions with that person. It is often associated with a person's personality traits, values, beliefs, and experiences, as well as their physical, emotional, and spiritual attributes. In terms of a philosophical expression or discussions, the concept of essence is often related to the idea of what we call ontology, which seeks to understand the nature of existence and being. In this context, the essence of a person is seen as their fundamental nature or substance that underlies all their attributes and experiences, in which persist over time, despite any changes or transformations they may undergo. This is the interesting part to me when I think about essence and thinking about this idea of who you are is truly who you are. And underneath this whole idea of us growing and maturing in life, our essence remains. Now, we may experience what we call circumstances or events or crises or trauma in our life, but underneath all of that, there's essence. Essence. Now, let me continue. This term essence, when I think about it, it's not mentioned in the Bible. However, there are some references in the Bible that suggest the idea of a fundamental nature or core identity that defines an individual. One of the most well-known references to this idea can be found in Psalms 139, 13, and 14, which reads, "For you created my inmost being. You knit me together in my mother's womb. I praise you because I am fearfully and wonderfully made. Your works are wonderful. I know that full well." This passage suggests that God has created each person with a unique and special identity, and that this identity is present from the very beginning of their existence. Oh, you just gotta love that, right? You have to know. That's why it's like we're spending our lives trying to unlock who we know we are absolutely, we know we're that person. We know that we're that spirit. We know that we are that being. But when you topple all of our experiences in the world, I mean, just imagine, think about not yourself, think about people all over the world, right? People who are experiencing things that maybe you haven't experienced in a way of oppressing the essence, a way of others being more important, or when we look at countries where women have less freedoms, or people in general that are in caste systems that have lesser opportunities, but there's an essence that's within them. There is a special identity and a purpose that is within every single human being. So when I was preparing for this episode, it just seems so deeply important that when we think about our essence, we have to truly get in touch with who we truly are. And that is why this episode is including ideas around the real you. Who are you really? I mean, pause for a minute and ask yourself, who am I? I know that in every decade of my life, I'm asking that question. Who am I? Why am I here? And I will say this to you is that as you continue to mature in life, when you reach your winter years, when we talk about moving into maturity, many of us, we may be in summer, and that's when you're in your 20s and your 30s, and you're living it up, and you're trying to figure out, who am I? You're trying to really discover your greatness and discover your brilliance and discover your uniqueness. And so in that journey of discovery, we're already uniquely made, but we spend most of our time in life trying to be different. I hope you caught that. We are uniquely designed, we're uniquely formed, but many of us spend our time trying to be different. It's how we look, it's what we do, how we speak, whatever the case may be. We are on this road of being different, but you're already unique in your own essence, in your own identity. All the other stuff is just the stuff we put on. Now, the reason why I want to talk about the real you is because we live in a society where there's some blurred lines. And I'm maturing, but I came up in the 80s. In the 80s, I was a young teenager moving into my young adulthood. And at the same time, computers and all of these things were coming, technology was coming forth. In the 90s, we were introduced, the late 80s and the 90s, we were introduced to AOL. And so when we think about identity, it was one of the first introductions to alter egos, to screen names, to other things. other than yourself, where you could be in an altered environment and not really be the real you. So that started in the 90s. Now, moving that up from the 90s to the 2000s, 2010, I think we're 30 years later. And when you think about the energy in the world, it's a lot of screen names. It's a lot of other stuff other than true essence. And that is why I'm talking about this subject, and that a part of this billionaire brilliance mindset is having an essence mindset, wanting to be in touch with who you truly are. It's like, we live with the shadows of our lives, and shadows are those things that you do in the shadows that you would be horrified for people in the world to really know, or people you love and care about, that you're doing this because you're living with a shadow, okay, which ultimately may impact your true essence. Then there's what we call the representative when it comes to the real you and how you show up in the world. Most of us are really, at the end of the day, we're scared. We're afraid. We're afraid to show up in our authentic self. We're afraid to show up with joy. We're afraid to be happy in life, for fear of what others may experience because of their lack of joy or their lack of knowing who they are. So we're playing this dance in life around who am I? And it's like, guess who I am, as opposed to really showing up for who I am. So when I think about this idea of essence, each and every one of us, we were formed, we were created in our inmost being. And it's like when you can tap into that and really know before anything else has truly influenced you, your essence is like, it's there. It will always be there. It will endure. Some people may say the essence is your soul, your spirit, your being. But whatever it is, we're all trying to get in touch with it. And so in order to overcome this whole idea of not being the real you, I want to encourage you, and I'll have more to talk about when we think about the principles of the billionaire brilliance, of those 7 pillars around essence. But this is just an idea I want you to chew on. Like, just chew it and see how it feels for you when we think about this word essence. Every time I say it, it's like something is moving, like particles or something, like it's moving in the atmosphere. The energy or the vibration of this word is amazing. Essence. Like, you're connected to God. It's like spirit. I don't even know another word besides spirit or essence, but our soul. There are many words that are synonyms to essence. But when I think about it and I experience it, I feel it. I feel like it's not physical. I feel like it's a major connection to God. So when I think about this idea of essence and the real you, how you show up in the world, you've been hearing it over and over again in these principles. And ultimately, how you show up determines really how well you produce in not only your work, but in the joy of fulfilling your journey. This isn't going to last always. Some people live longer than others, but it doesn't last forever. The kind of energy you have in your 20s and 30s and 40s and 50s, maybe even 60s, if you're lucky enough to live that long. And people say all the time, well, when you get 50, you're not going for that anymore. Maybe a part of that statement is that you're starting to find that tuning rod of essence. You're starting to hear things differently, experience things differently. And that is essence. Essence mindset. Simply put, it's really about embracing your uniqueness and authenticity, connecting with your true self. and making decisions that align with your highest potential. By cultivating an inner knowing and focusing on your strengths and passions, you can make a positive impact in the world and create a life that looks like you. But in today's world, it's easy. And I'm going to talk about this from my own personal experience and some of the things that I'm going to share. It's easy to get caught up in the need to be seen and heard on social media, constantly sharing updates and seeking validation from others. This can make it difficult to truly connect with our inner selves and embrace our authentic essence. That's where the power of reclaiming your personal privacy comes in. A couple of years ago, well, almost a year and a half ago, it was in 2021, I made a decision to reclaim my privacy. For over, I think since 2008, I was on social media, just pretty much consistent, constantly, feeling like, this was a way to express and communicate with people. And I just continued. And I've learned that because you've done it doesn't mean you have to continue to do it. And I recognized that I was feeling obligated, but it really wasn't who I was or I wanted to be. I felt like this was what I had to do. And through that process, now 8, 10, maybe 12 years of doing social media, showing up on Facebook, what I noticed is it wasn't growing. Like the fan base wasn't growing. The same people, we were all talking to each other, watching each other grow in life and do things, and watching our curated personas communicated in those environments. And what I recognized is that I needed to take a step back from the constant noise of social media and reclaim my privacy, my personal privacy. I needed to create a space where I could truly connect with my inner self and understand my true essence. It was about me eliminating and shifting from the need of acknowledgement or approval or the need to be seen, to really begin to shift my focus inward, allowing myself to truly explore my passions, my talents, without the pressure of outside influences. Now, understand what I just said. Without the pressures of outside influences. What I do know is that because you have done it doesn't mean you have to keep doing it. And oftentimes we find ourselves in these habits, because we don't have other goals. We don't have other ideas or things that we want to pursue, or we've laid them to the side because we're now feeling obligated because we built a fan base or we are trying to make money that ultimately sometimes we can lose ourselves. So I personally learned 3 things about my essence by reclaiming my personal privacy and eliminating this need to be seen and then re-emerging with intention. These are the things. First, I realized that I am passionate about helping others and that my true purpose in life is to empower and inspire others to live their best lives. Second, I learned that I am a natural communicator and that I thrive in situations where I can connect with others on a deeper level. And finally, I discovered that I am my best when I am authentic and true to myself, rather than trying to fit in to someone else's mind. Now, what I mean by that is I recognize that I gave myself time. When I pulled back, I had to reevaluate why I was doing all of these and reassess how this was aligning with my personal values, with my essence, and if it was something that I truly needed. When I think about this whole experience of taking this time away from social media and away from all of the noise of it all. Now, not that I'm not without, challenges or concerns or fears or whatever they are of re-emerging in a way. I think I am more authentic in how I'm doing that. I feel more at peace with how I am showing up in the space. I'm choosing to be all of these amazing things that I am as a natural communicator, as a person that wants to help people. I'm choosing how to do it differently. So I hope that in listening to this episode today, that you've heard something that would inspire you to choose to live out your life in your essence. And how that has manifested in my life has simply been I've chosen to do things in a much simpler way. When I say doing things differently, what's important to me has certainly not changed. It's been better defined. And so by choosing to re-emerge in a public space, these are my gifts and my talents. So I re-emerged in a way that I can focus more on building a business rather than being an entertainer. And what I mean by that, building a business that brings value to individuals that need to find a solution to a problem. So by focusing my attention on training and educating people in a way that really serves their business growth, it's really changed a lot for me. So I spent that time really with my head down, really focusing on what was really important to me and how I could convert my talents, my abilities to create income. And so I think it's important that when you're thinking about your essence and how you want to show up and why this is so important to me, is sometimes I think we are trying to be everything to all things, and it's just not possible. It's not possible to be the representative or to live with the shadows in your life. It's not possible to do that in a sustainable way. Eventually, we get tired, we break down, we have physical experiences, sicknesses, disease, whatever the case may be. But at some point, you're going to have to choose you, and you're going to have to choose the you know is true. And that's what I think is so important. So let me give you these few things that might help you, a few steps, and let me round this out for you. When I think about this idea of the essence mindset in your everyday life and reclaiming your privacy, I don't know how well I've done with that, but it was so important that if you walk away with nothing today about essence, you should be walking away in order to really achieve it. You're going to have to reclaim your privacy. We're living out loud, people, and you're going to have to bring it down a notch and reclaim your privacy so that you can create the space for you to get to know yourself. I'm not talking about the other people in your life, because I can tell you, I'll share another episode around when you truly come into your essence, your true self, where you are comfortable with yourself, you are confident with yourself, you're not apologizing about who you are and why you're choosing and making the good decisions you're making. It's going to create some issues with other people. It's going to create maybe envy or jealousy or people projecting their emotions. And the reason why is you're changing the way you're living. You're changing what you're doing. You're changing what you're engaging in. You're putting up your boundaries. You're setting new boundaries. You're taking different risk to create the life you want. And so here are these tools. Number one, take a break from social media. It doesn't have to be permanent, but take some time to disconnect, to focus on your own inner voice. This is so important. If you're the type that depends on when you look at social media, is it the first thing you look at? Or is it the last thing you look at? You're allowing these voices to influence you. Pause. Listen to your own voice. Listen to your own heartbeat. Listen to your own thoughts and let them be well with you. Number 2, spend some time reflecting on your passions. Some of us, and you've heard me talk about this in a couple of these, and at least in our last episode in the interview, I talked about passion, joy, and love, generosity, these things. This is for real. And when we think about spending time reflecting on your passions, what is that thing that lights your fire? Your values, your strengths. Write them down. Write down your thoughts and your ideas, just on a note, and put it somewhere. Then maybe a month or a year later, go back and pick it up so you can see if you've actually started to take that walk of passion. Another one is practice self-awareness. I keep talking about this, and I know there's this whole philosophy of when we're thinking about ourselves and all of this, and that is the trick, people, that they don't want you to think about yourself. They always want that attention somewhere else because you are your best teacher. You are your best, you can observe your own heart. You can hear your own thoughts. You can assess your own feelings. And I can tell you this, is that most times, if you are not involved with other people, your feelings are probably pretty good. That's just a little tip. You can have that one for free. But it's when we're engaged in life and with other people that now we have to deal with it. So start paying attention to your own thoughts, your behaviors, and be honest with yourself about what's working and what's not. And I think I might have said this a couple of episodes ago. One of the greatest things about taking this reclaiming your personal privacy is saying, I'm not doing that. No, I'm not doing that either. That's not working for me. And when you start to change your language, you're going to create the space that you need to be yourself. Connect with others who share your passions. Seek out like-minded individuals who can support and encourage you on your journey. Let people know, no, I'm not, I don't want to necessarily be a part of that now. I'm working on getting to know my essence, getting to know more of me, getting to know my true self. And then finally, let go of competition and comparison. I always say that comparison and competition is the enemy of your being. It is the enemy of your essence. And remember when I started this, your essence is about your true or your fundamental identity. It's about who you are. The moment you compare yourself to something else, oh, it's over. It's over. Now you got to work getting yourself back to believing you truly are who you are. So celebrate your own successes and recognize the value of your unique contribution. You matter. You belong in the earth at this time, in this moment, being you, not someone else. I mean, you don't have that long of a life to live to pretend to be something else. So choose it today and be yourself. Thanks for listening to this podcast today, to this episode, The Essence Mindset. Just remember this. You are wonderfully and fearfully made. You are absolutely remarkable and you deserve to be amazing. So by reclaiming your personal privacy and embracing your true essence, you can tap into the real you. Thanks for tuning in, and I'll see you on next week. And I hope that this episode has inspired you to take a break. Listen to your own voice. You deserve that. Coach Anna. You're listening to the Business and Faith podcast on how to unlock your billionaire brilliance with Coach Anna McCoy to be more confident, make more money, and achieve your wildest dreams in business and in life.
Ooh, if you can see it, it's your mindset. You can achieve it, adjust your mindset. If you can see it, it's your mindset.
Are you tired of feeling like you're missing out on the latest tech trends? Want to use AI to grow your business, but not sure where to start? Well, it's time to get smart with AI. Our program is designed for busy entrepreneurs just like you, with real-world, hands-on applications and easy-to-understand lessons. And best of all, our program is affordable and accessible to everyone. So don't get left behind in the tech race. Join Get Smart with AI and take your business to the next level. Visit annamccoy.com to register.